Hello lovelies, it's your girl RJ. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hey, thanks so much for stopping by. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, click that red button below and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Alright guys, so if you read the description below, you know today we are going to test out a new to me foundation. It is still actually pretty new. I think it just got released maybe a month ago, and that is this this bad baby right here. It is the Tarte Clay Stick Foundation, and they only had I think 4 shades to choose from the free sample. So I went with Tan Deep Honey. I think it might be a little darker than what I normally use. I'm slightly darker from coming back from vacation, but the other shades looked lighter, and I'm so bad about picking foundation shades. I don't know about you guys, but I never, when I'm doing it online, can get the right one. It doesn't matter. You know, I should have just went into the store and swatched some samples before I placed the order, but regardless, so since this is a newer product, I thought we would check out Sephora's website and see what they have to say about it. Alright, so this is a medium to full coverage product. It is for all skin types, and the finish is supposed to be natural. It also says it's a 12-hour wear creamy clay foundation stick that delivers weightless, natural looking coverage and nutrients. Then for what it does, it says the Clay Stick Foundation is a buildable powder to liquid formula that melts into your skin for medium to full coverage, leaving a natural finish that looks and feels just like your own skin. Micro encapsulated powders then burst with your body heat to keep you shine and cake free. And it's a vegan formula, and it features antioxidants, vitamin C, E, and Amazonian clay. And then let's see if there's any special information about how to use it. For medium coverage, apply with a smoothie blender foundation brush. For fuller coverage, apply with a blending sponge. So I think we should try the sponge on one side and a brush on the other and see if we can see a difference between the two. It says twist up foundation, swipe directly onto skin, concentrating coverage at the center of your face to cover redness, uneven skin tone, hyperpigmentation, pores, and other imperfections. Alright, so it does say dot and blend foundation directly over acne, spots, or scars to conceal, or wear it a few shades lighter or darker as a creamy highlight or contour stick. That would be a very expensive highlight or contour stick, as these will run you $39 for the full size, and it looks like they have a fairly decent shade range. I want to see where I am on this. Actually, no, I take that back, I lied. So there's only, on Sephora's site anyway, about, it looks like 10 shades. Tan Sand, Tan Deep Honey. This one actually might be a decent shade. When I look on the spectrum of what to pick, it's a shade darker than what I would normally get, but that shade wasn't available as one of the choices, so not too bad. So let's go ahead and take a look at the packaging. Alright, so even though this is just a deluxe sample, it is modeled after the exact same look as the full size, which is always very nice. It has the same little design up at the top with the kind of clear, I guess it's kind of clay inside the layers of the earth look to it. The same tube packaging, just obviously much smaller. And there is a pretty decent amount of product in here. So I was actually surprised about that. I figured it would go up about halfway, so that's pretty good. And then as you saw, I did a swipe on my hand. Actually, by looking at it on my hand, it looks like this is going to be a very close match. And again, this is Tan Deep Honey. Alright, so as you can see, I have nothing on my face. I have washed and moisturized it, but I thought I would go ahead and start off with the primer before we apply the foundation. I'm going to be using 2 today. The first is the Milk Makeup Blur Stick. So for this one, I like to just apply it on like the sides of my nose where my pores are the largest, and then just a little bit right here. And then once I put it on, I just kind of take my fingers and just kind of work it in to the skin, right around in that area. And then I'm going to go on with the rest of my face with the Benefit Pore-Fessional. This is one of my favorite primers. And put that on the rest of my face. Right. I know a lot of people don't, but I love the way that primer feels. It's so good. Alright, so let's zoom you guys in a little bit and let's get started. Alright, not too close. So I've also got one of the Mott Prismatic brushes. I picked up this set from Walmart and thought I would break it out and use it. So we're going to be using the brush on this side of my face and my L'Oreal sponge on this side. And I have wet this, it is damp. So let's just apply this side first so we can kind of see what it looks like with comparison between foundation and no foundation. So yeah, looks like it's going to be a pretty decent match. That's good. I'm not sure how quickly this dries. I'm going to apply just a little bit more to my forehead area, nose, and chin. Alright, so let's zoom you guys in just a little bit closer. Alright, so we're zoomed in pretty close and we're not focused. There we go. I would say by looking at this, this is very light coverage on just the first layer. However, before I do a second layer, I'm going to move over to this side and try it with the sponge and see if we get the same results. So it definitely has like a creamy feel when you're applying it to your skin, but it doesn't feel oily or greasy. And I think I can tell already that the coverage is better with the sponge. So I think that we'll do a little bit more on the other side, but go over it with the sponge. I feel like it dispersed the product easier. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to zoom you guys back in. It may not be as easy to tell on camera, but this side is a little bit more splotchy, and this side blended out more even. Now obviously you can see my freckles are still totally coming through. So, and then some of my just kind of scars and hyperpigmentation is showing up. So I'm not sure about medium coverage, but we'll try one more layer and then we'll see what we get. Alright, and then I'm just going to go over my whole face with the L'Oreal sponge again. Alright, so I can definitely tell looking in the camera my face is a little bit darker than my neck and chest area, which, as I said, when I looked on the list of foundation colors, this was definitely probably a shade darker than what I would normally choose from if all the shades were available. However, it's a pretty close match. Overall, I think it blended out pretty nicely. Let me zoom you back in and we'll take a closer look. Alright, so with doing 2 coats of this clay stick foundation, I'm definitely going to say this is a light to medium coverage. You know, you can totally see my freckles, and not they don't really look like they are blurred out any, so that doesn't really make me think medium coverage. It's certainly not full. I feel like I'm putting a decent amount on my skin, and I wouldn't really want to go much heavier than that because I feel like it'll get cakey. It does look like, just looking, I mean, it does feel a bit greasy on the skin. So I don't know. I know it's supposed to be for all skin types, but I don't know how that's going to wear throughout the day. We shall see. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of my makeup. It is currently 9:40 in the AM. So I won't be wearing this probably 12 hours. I might if I go until 9 o'clock this evening. We could definitely see how it wears for 12 hours. So I'm going to go do the rest of my makeup, and then I will come back and show you guys that, and then we'll do some periodic check-ins throughout the day. See you in a second. Alright guys, I'm all finished. I've got my full face of makeup on. I will say everything played nicely with the Tarte, I can't remember what this is called, the clay stick. I didn't have any problems with blending out my blush or contour. Concealer went on just fine, so that's always good. You never know personally how something is going to react with something else, so it was good to see that there was no issues there. So currently it is 10:23, so I will probably check back in about 4 hours to see how everything is going. Want to go out in some natural light, see how everything looks, as well as take a photo. And I'll insert that clip right here. So I think that is it. So far my first impression is that I like it. So I'm curious of how many applications you get out of a stick foundation versus a liquid foundation. So that's another thing to consider for the price point. But for right now, I think everything looks really good, and I'll see you guys in a few hours. All right guys, so it is currently 2:31. Doing a check-in. I thought I would come outside, let you guys see a little bit of the natural light. Overall, I think this is wearing pretty decently, but I do feel a little bit more greasy than normal, so I brought my Blotterazzi. I would try patting that out. I don't feel like normally I get super oily, and I have combination skin, but it's not like super oily where I feel like I have to blot. Usually I'm just sweaty, so that is a little bit of a, to me, setback that I'm having to blot, because that's not something I would normally have to do. Other than that, let's take a good look. My mascara seems to be running on that side, but other than that, I think it looks fairly decent. Everything still seems to be in place, other than this weird mascara run. Although I think my eyes were watering earlier. I was watching like one of those sad videos on YouTube, so that might be what that's from. But yeah, I'll check back in with you one more time this evening, and I'll give you my final thoughts on the foundation. Bye guys. Alright guys, so I'm back with my final check-in of the night. It is currently 8:12, so I've had this on for 11 hours. So yes, I've had this on for 11 hours, and I have my final verdict, whether or not I think this product is rad or ratchet. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to give it a thumbs down and just say it's ratchet. Now, that's just for me. This might work out perfectly fine for you, but I'm not really an oily person. I'm a sweaty girl. I have said that many a times, but I'm not super oily. I have pretty normal skin. I do sometimes get a little greasy in the T-zone, but not very often. The foundations that I use on a regular basis, I'm not blotting my face. I don't feel like my oils are really coming through, and that is exactly what happened with this foundation. I'm going to zoom you guys in just a little bit. Alright, so I don't know if you guys can really tell. I'm trying to look in the viewfinder to see what you're seeing, but it's pretty much worn off on my nose here, and today I was actually extra careful about making sure I wasn't like wiping my nose and wiping my face. I feel like the coverage has really worn down all along this area. I'm super shiny. Let's go back to normal. And just overall not super pleased. The color was fine, but immediately when I put it on, I felt like I wasn't getting that full to medium coverage it was talking about. I did do one side, if you remember, with the brush and the other side with the sponge. I did get better, smoother coverage with the sponge side, but even when I went over my entire face again with another layer of product and put that on with the sponge, it still wasn't giving me what I would consider medium coverage. Medium coverage to me is when you can't see, you can see my freckles, but they're just barely peeking through, almost like you're like, oh, does she have freckles? But you can't quite tell. These are very prominent, very apparent. You can still see some of the like little scars and such on my face. So definitely not medium to full coverage. It did feel honestly a little greasy upon application, but I thought after I put the rest of my makeup on and put like setting powder that would kind of control some of that. It didn't. It wound up coming through stronger than I've had really with any foundation in a long time. So overall, I'm not super pleased with this product. I think maybe if you have really dry skin, then it may work for you. Also, you know, it's supposed to be 12 hours of wear. We're right at 11. So we tested almost to the full limits and it honestly did not deliver. It's definitely breaking down in this whole section of my face. So that's my opinion. I mean, obviously I'm not going to tell you not to try it because it could work wonders for you where it didn't work for me. We see that all the time. That's why there's, you know, not just 2 or 3 makeup lines out there. There's, you know, several dozen. So you have to find what's right for you. So that's it for me. Once again, guys, I love making these videos. I hope you guys love watching them. And until next time, bye guys.